Once you start learning about utilizing debt, like hard money lenders or private money lending, it feels like cheating because our community, we really pride ourselves in doing things ourselves, raising our own money. But today we have a special guest that's going to tell you how he was able to use other people's money to launch his real estate investing journey and career and the lessons that he learned along the way.
Martin Castro Silva used hard money and private money to launch his real estate flipping career. Welcome, Martin. How are you doing today?
Thank you, ladies. I'm so happy to be here with you. My name is Martin. I'm in Florida, the state of Florida. Vero Beach City is my main primary market where I invest. I've been in real estate since 2022. I started flipping houses is what I do mainly, but I also buy and hold, and I've been doing it since then. I think with some sort of success, and yeah, it's fun. Let's talk about it.
You went from like a high salary job and then you went and just like quit and then started using other people's money. So I'm kind of curious, like how your mindset, like, first of all, did you have the similar mindset of debt, like afraid of debt, and what switched that with you?
Well, I have always been very diligent with my bills and my money. I think that that is a plus. My background is in accounting and I was working at a bank for over a decade, right? So I kind of have an understanding of money. And when I decided, my wife and I, when we decided to go into real estate, we knew uh, it was going to be a complete different industry. We didn't have much of an experience, but we knew one thing for sure. We wanted to do something different and we wanted to do something. We wanted to try it. Hey, don't get me wrong, we were very afraid of doing it. Uh, the uncertainty kind of like played a big role. And it took me a year and a half, to be quite honest, to make that move, to take that leap of faith. So from whoever that is seeing this podcast, don't, if it's taking you a month, 6 months, a year, 2 years, that's okay. We're all gonna move when we feel ready. But the way that we started is we just wanted to do something different. We were very lucky also because we took advantage of when interest rates dropped significantly. We were able to refinance our home and pull some money. It wasn't much, but it was enough for us to understand that where we used to live, we couldn't invest because it was too expensive. So we felt that it was right for us to think outside the box and look for other markets where our money would help us and give us that push to start.
Thank you for saying that because it is not a thing that you just wake up with, right? Like all of a sudden, Sunday, I learn about real estate, and Monday, I'm going to go and like pull money out of my house and then go do it. Because there's going to be an adjustment period for everybody that's learning about this or even seeing other people doing this. Like you were saying, you were a banker, you were seeing other people that were investing in real estate and they were talking to you about their deals. And this is the information that I got from your podcast with Bigger Pockets. But it is not, it takes time to make the transition of saying like, I'm going to venture into this new business and I'm looking to make a profit on my first deal. But also like, I'm going to think about it, we'll mull it over, and I'm going to take the necessary steps to put me in a position like going and refinancing my house, pulling out equity of the house and have like that as a backup before I like go ahead and venture into this new thing, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And one of the things that I can really share now that I'm, a few years in the industry is that you gotta have a plan. You gotta have a business plan. If you don't know how to write one, it's just, hey, this is what I did. I remember. I kind of like, I mean, I knew my bills, my expenses, right? And when I refinanced my house, I got like a chunk of money, and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna give this real estate thing a try, and I'm gonna put aside 3 months worth of expenses. If I don't make it happen in 3 months, if I don't, if I see it's not going anywhere, I'm gonna try to do something different. But I'm gonna cross that bridge when I get there, if I get there. So that's what I did. I kind of like plan ahead. I had a budget. I knew, and I just took a leap of faith. And that's very important. That you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that if you study, you learn, you read, you watch videos, you talk to other people that are doing it, chances are, you have higher chances of doing it successfully than failing. And it's just that courage that there's a saying in Spanish, se escrito de los cobardes, no se escrito nada. It's basically nothing has been written about cowards. Just gotta take that leap of faith. Just go for it. And look, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
The fear of failure stops a lot of people, and we got to be like, you know what, failure is okay. Like if it didn't work out, then find something else, or maybe figure out what you did wrong and then try again, because sometimes it's something that, like, maybe you didn't have a business plan. They misjudged how much real estate investing is, how much it takes.
Gotta remember that you miss 100% of the chances you don't take. So, and you know what? I mean, I'm a father. I have two little ones. So I've realized that time flies. If you don't execute, if you don't take action, whatever it is that you want to do and you want to achieve, right? It's going to be really hard, and you don't want to live with that regret. Oh, I didn't do it when I was 25. I didn't do it when I was 30. I didn't do it when I was, So might as well just try it. Hey, listen, you can always come back. And perhaps that might be a um, immigrant mentality because, we came from nothing, and then we just, what do we have to lose? At some point, we just didn't have anything, and then we started building. We started doing something for we started building ourselves, our career, our working experience. And
Yeah, I definitely understand. Like a lot of people I ask, like, how do you have this confidence to go and do these things? And then they're all like, oh, well, I need to have experience. I need to have competence prior to do these things. And I'm like, how do you get the experience if you never have tried it, never have done it? I don't want to sound like a gym bro, but like you have to have reps. You have to go and do train the muscle before the muscle becomes a harder muscle or bigger muscle. So you have to go and try it out for yourself. I wanted to ask something that we haven't delved into this podcast is harmony. And if you can explain to us what harmony is and how do you use it for your deal?
so harmony, I did not know that until my second or third deal. I have the same mentality as buying everything cash, right? But I was able to make really good connections with people. I have used private lenders, people that have excess of cash, good problem to have, and they were able to lend me lend me some money on their terms. You gotta pay points. What people need to understand is hard money is just a person that has money that is willing to lend it to you using the asset, the property as a collateral, right? In case you default, you don't pay, or even if you die, right? They will be able to get their money back, no questions asked, because there will be a mortgage note recorded on the property appraiser of whatever county you buy, and then they'll be able to claim that. So they lend up to 70, 80%. When you're first starting, when you don't have any experience, quote unquote, riskier borrower, right? Because you don't have the experience. So you find a title company that is going to do the closing, right? And then you bring your lender. You tell the lender, hey, listen, I want to buy this house for $150,000, right? Or let's say 200, and then they're going to lend you 150. So you would have to come up with a difference, right? 10, 20, 25%, whatever the case may be. A title company will get in touch with the lender, and they're going to tell it, I was told, I understand you are going to be Martin's lender for property 123 Main Street. I'm going to tell you what the wire that you need to send. So the day of closing or the day before, that lender will wire the money out into the title company's account. And the title companies would hold the money for closing. You bring your share, because also you got to remember, as a new investor, you have to have skin in the game. You have to have some money. Okay. I know a lot of people say, oh, buy this house with no money, with $0. That could happen. But in reality, you know, I've, I've never, I don't know anyone that has done it that personally know. Like, you have to have at least something, because you also have to have something to lose. So what they do is closing day comes, the money's in the title company, you bring your own money, you do your own wire, and then what do they charge you? They typically charge you points for originating the loan, right? Point origination. And then based on your experience, they will give you an interest rate, which is interest only. For instance, if they lend you 50,000, they typically it ranges from 12 to 15%, right? That you're gonna pay on that amount for a year. most lenders lend for a year, 12 months, because typically you're gonna go in, renovate the property, and try to sell it within less than a year, right? That's why it's very important, very imperative to run your numbers conservatively. You have to make sure you run your numbers because you definitely want to be in and out of the property. Hold it for, I mean, no more than 6 months. I would say.
Want to mention that different hard money lenders would have different.
Criteria.
Yes. And also, like the way that they disperse the money is not the same, right? Some people do disperse the money for the whole project at the beginning. Some people do have like a drawing period in which you access it on stages.
I'm gonna tell you how I operate with my harmony. Hey Blake, if you're seeing this, kudos to you. um, so I'm at a point where I I get 90% financing. Let's talk with numbers so people would understand it, right? 200,000 is the purchase price. My lender would give me up to 90% of the purchase price, which it'll be 180, right? And I have to tell them that what the rehab budget would be. Let's say this house is gonna be 40,000. So I have to make sure that the 90% of the purchase price plus the rehab budget does not go over the ARV value. In this property that I have a property under contract right now, so the ARV is 325. So 70% of 325 shouldn't be higher than 180 plus 40, 220. We do a quick math. That's, let me see, 27,500. And my budget is 220. So I'm good to go. That's how it works. Of course, points change with experience. Typically, lenders charge 2, 3%, depending on your experience, or maybe less. And then you pay for closing costs. Interest rates are already set 12 to 15%. One thing that I learned is velocity of money. The faster you get in, the faster you get out, the more money you can make. And of course, you don't want to rush things, right? There's things that take time. The rehab, you're not going to be able to do a full gut job in a week. Let's be realistic. But you have to account for those things. So when you run your numbers, you definitely want to account for the purchase price, the rehab, and the holding cost, right? How long it's going to take you to rehab that property. So you want to make sure you have that buffer in a sense that, if you go over 1, 2, 3 months, then you already accounted for that and you're in good shape. Because the goal is to make money, right? We all work for profit. But the expectation when you're first starting is to do your due diligence ahead of time and be confident that you're gonna succeed. But if you fail, that's okay. If you break even, that's okay. If you were expecting to make 15, 20,000 in your first deal, but you end up making five or breaking even, that's okay. That's okay because in this business, every single flip, especially flips, will be a home run.
So what do you say to people like that might like hearing that interest rate might deter them from going into a deal? It's like, oh, that's too much money or
So people that are comparing traditional lending, conventional FHA and all that good stuff to hard money, they're two complete different worlds. Because one will allow you to leverage deals when you're in real estate investor mode. The other one, yes, you can definitely do some techniques like house hacking and like you buy a house as a primary residence, live in it for 2 years, then you buy another one and stuff like that. But there's two different strategies. Everyone has to understand what they're trying to accomplish. If you want to move faster, then using a hard money lender would be the route to take. If you still have your W2 job, you're still unsure, you like real estate, but you don't really want to dive in, 100%, then do a traditional lending. Make sure you always buy, you like each year or every 15 months you purchase a property, and that way you can start building your portfolio as well. So both routes are great. Like one needs to know what they really want to do. So you have to be confident with yourself. You have to know your goals. What are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to accomplish? Do you want to leave your W2 job because you no longer feel passionate about it and you want to do something different and you found real estate as the vehicle for you to get that freedom, fine. Then the route you're gonna take is the hard money route. You're gonna have to partner with hard money lenders. You're gonna have to put a lot more work. But you're okay, you still enjoy your profession, you still like what you do, you make very good money, decent money, but you also want to want to take a peek of what it's like to be a real estate investor, then do the traditional route.
Mhm.
I I've heard a lot of people that recommend to keep your W-2 job as much as you can, right? Because you're more bankable. Banks look at you even better because you're bringing income, and then you add rental income to that income. That's even better.
You also mentioned that you use private money lenders in the beginning of your journey. And a lot of people would think that, I don't know anybody that has extra cash and or in the network. Like when you see around it, everybody seems like that they're struggling to make ends meet, to buy groceries, to go vacations. How do you meet these people that have the extra cash to lend you? Like, how do you go about networking with these individuals?
You'd be surprised, but just getting into the business and people seeing that you're doing flips or you're buying rentals, they would connect you. The very first private lender that I met, it was the closer of the title company for my first flip. He introduced me to actually the second lender, private lender. He's like, "Hey, Mark, you need money? I got you. I know somebody who will lend you the money." Really? But they don't know me. Hey, they're looking at the property, they're looking at the asset. So that's you just have to talk, speak up to everyone. You would never know who the bank account. There is another saying, don't judge the book by its cover. You don't know. You don't know who has the money, and they will, if they're in real estate or if they understand it, they will lend it to you.
I haven't used like a private money lender or a hard money lender yet, but I've met them through the networking and just by talking about it, and people that I didn't even like know on my Facebook. They're like, "Hey, I also do that. Interesting. Let's connect."
Right. If you don't tell anybody, then nobody's gonna share with you. Yeah, I have extra $300,000 in the bank.
Exactly.
Nobody's just gonna be like, are you making, are you trying to get a profit? Are you trying to get 12% of your money? Or do you know anybody, right? Do you know if it's not directly? I remember somebody telling me, if you don't feel comfortable asking somebody for money, even though they're a private money lender, you always start with like, do you know somebody that would like to make 12% of their money? So now that you have your business on the wraps and your systems are all in place, what does your team look like?
Definitely want to have a real estate and investor friendly agent, right? An agent that understands that you are not a regular buyer, that you will move quick, and someone that will bring you deals and help you come deals. Because let's be honest, we don't have all the tools to know what's gonna be like when a deal comes my way. I probably know or don't know the area. Perhaps this agent has had a listing in the past, and he or she can give you insight and let you know, hey, listen, it took a lot of time for me to sell this in this neighborhood. I don't think that would be a good buy, or houses in this neighborhood sell in no time. That would be one. Two, lender, right? I finance all my deals with hard money because it's faster. They know me. They give me good pricing now. So it's a lot easier for me to just pick up the phone and tell them, send them the address or send them a text message. Hey, I'm looking to put an offer on this property. Boom, boom, boom. All they ask me is purchase price, ARV, rehab. I give them those three numbers. They either give me thumbs up or thumbs down. And then I have my crew. I have a crew that I work with, right? Where when I bring the deals, houses to rehab, just give it to them. It's
How do you go about estimating rehab and costs?
a great question. Well, at first, I'm not gonna lie, people rip me off because I didn't know better, and I believe that's everyone's fear, right? But what I always recommend to new investors is try to get a light cosmetic rehab project. Definitely don't want to do a gut job if you don't have the experience. And what I mean by that is something where you just have to change the countertops on a kitchen, light fixtures, faucets, maybe vanities. I mean, if you have to do an entire bathroom, that's okay. It's not that bad. But something that even if you pay a little more money, it'll be easier because that one deal will give you the experience to make connections, know people, right? To understand how they work. You definitely wanna, I mean, you don't wanna babysit anybody, but sometimes at the beginning you may have to do it because, this is your money, this is your business, and you cannot be just like naive and believe that everyone is gonna do their job how they're supposed to. So at first you just have to kind of like it's part of the process, part of the learning curve, part of the learning experience. But when I estimate the way I do to estimate my flips is I try to be conservative and I try to give myself a little buffer, right? So I know at least down here in Florida, bathroom remodeling could go from anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000. A kitchen could go from, depending on the size, 8 to 15. But you also wanna develop relationships with the contractors and explain to them, hey, listen, I am an investor. You can give me decent price. I'm gonna keep calling you. You know, decent price, decent job means repeating business. Simple as that. But you have to have that conversation with every single contractor, subcontractor. I've had it with my AC guy. I've had it with my counter guy. I've had it with my septic guy. And they know we're not end buyers. We're doing repeating business and we're gonna give them my roof guy, we're gonna give them businesses, like multiple businesses within a year. So you just have to break the ice and be upfront and let them know I am an investor. And that's something that more new investors they have to believe. They have to believe that investors and they're bringing money, they're creating jobs, and they're making money flow in the investment real estate ecosystem.
We all watch HGTV and we all see flipping houses. They look great, but the reality is different. What is the hardest thing nobody warned you about that you pushed through without giving up?
I believe my second flip. I hired this electrician, in this new city that I had just moved in, and he charged me. He asked me for some money, right, up front. He did the work. Like he went one day, kind of like, I was changing the breaker panel. He took the breaker panel out. He installed a new one, and he left me with one breaker. One. Oh no, he did not come back in 2 months.
Oh.
My entire operation froze. I couldn't do much. I couldn't do anything. I was like going nuts. I would call him, he wouldn't pick up. I would call him, I tried to reach out in different ways. And I remember now, and yes, I wanted to, I wanted to throw in the towel because how is this possible? This is a licensed electrician. That this is someone that is local. This is someone that. Why would he do that to me? What did I do? I don't owe him any money. He just wouldn't come, and he had opened the permit. So like going to a different electrician, I would have to pay what he has already done. So it was going to be double the work, and it was an and cheap ticket item. So managing contractors, I think, would be one of the highest or more difficult tasks in this business. But as long as you develop relationship and you're being fair with them, I think that so far so good. Wood, not on wood. Besides that experience, everything else has been fine.
How did you end up resolving the issue?
I ran into him 2 times at Home Depot and confronted him. Yeah. I was like, dude, what the hell?
I'm gonna follow you until you come back to my fix it.
I called them, I called his office, his secretary, and then he came. I bugged him so much because, he needed to finish the job. I didn't want to hire somebody else because then I would have to pay double, close the permit, open a new permit, delays, and all of that. So I ended up just like I got him to come, but he didn't close the permit. And it wasn't until we had the house under contract that I personally had to go to the city, close I'm sorry, submit a request to open a new permit, and then he managed it. And I had, but by then I already had everybody else, like both of the both of the agents in the transaction, title, reaching out to him. So it's just bad business, Like they would say, "Oh, never refer to this guy, never refer to this company because, yeah, they're not gonna deliver." Yeah, that was a dark moment.
What would you say to yourself if, like, back then, if you were going through the same thing?
What I do now, because I still run into hurdles, it's not easy. This job is not easy, but it's very rewarding. I just take a deep breath and tell myself, "Hey, listen, there's nothing you can do. You've done everything that is in your control, and as long as you're good with it, you're gonna think for the next day. There's always tomorrow, and you can always, with a fresh mind, you'll be able to tackle that problem and hopefully solve it." Yeah. So I'll tell you some story, very small story, recent story. So I finished the flip, and we were just cleaning it up, getting it ready for pictures, right? And then we heard a hiss on the one of the pipes. I didn't see any water anywhere. Oh my God. So I called my contractor. Hey, listen, what's this sound? Do you hear this sound when you were here last? No, no, no. And I didn't see any water, so but then I went to the main lane, water line, and I saw the meter was running. I was like, okay, so everything is shut off. Why is it running? It has to be underground. So clearly, yeah, I have to shut off the main valve. Call a plumbing company to find the underground leak, fix it. Not only that, then I rebuilt a fence that was in that house, and I just did it nicer. But I was just redoing it, so I did not pull a permit for it, right? So I got a complaint from the city and a violation notice. So I had to deal with it. So the point I'm trying to make is you will always find obstacles. You will always find things that they're not gonna go the way you plan. But you just have to understand that you're just gonna have to solve them. And this is what this profession is about. You put out fires every single day, right? And you just have to have the conviction, the the willingness to tackle them down and make sure you're gonna be successful at it. That's it.
And just to like finish on a good positive note, like what's some like motivation for our community that you would say that to help somebody that's like on the fence?
Well, just kind of like going back to what we discussed before, having a plan is key. Understanding, I'm not here to promote quit your job and jump on it. That depends. That's very personal, and you have to know your personality and the kind of risk that you want to take. But if you are willing to learn about real estate, if you have the means, right, the tools and the help, the support, just go for it. Even if you just want to do little by little, right? Or get yourself involved in any aspect of real estate. If you want to get into become an agent. That way you understand, you know what an ARV is, you know what a days on market means, what properties sell, what properties don't sell, right? But execute. Execution is key. Execution is what most people lack. Everyone talks about it, but little people do about it, right? Just do it, execute it. Even you don't have to start by buying like a $600,000 house, or you don't have to start buying. Just start small. Partner up with someone, right? Someone that you trust, someone that if you don't know anybody that is willing to do real estate, then surround yourself with people that are in the circle, in the network, right? Because you have to have those contacts. You have to have that willingness to learn from others and always be humble. But the main takeaway would be execution. Execution is key. I have spoken to a lot of people. A lot of people, hey, Martin, yeah, it's good what you do, blah blah blah, and we talk for hours. Okay, and then I would like they would bring deals to me to help them analyze, and I would do it gladly. Boom, boom, boom. Place this offer. I would place this offer. Hey, do you place the offer? You talk to the lender. So if you're not gonna execute, but if you're willing to do it, yes, and start small. You don't have to start.
Thank you for coming on here and sharing your expertise. Where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Martin Melmac. Melmac stands for my kids, Melanie and Matthew Castro. That's how I came up with that name. So it's not my last name, but it's the name of my company. And my website is martinmelmac.com, And if they want to refer anyone, they know if someone's selling, I also pay a referral fee if I get too close on that house. So Martin Melmac is my website, and Instagram is what I use most at Martin Melmac. And then LinkedIn, Martin Castro Silva. That's how I am.
Thank you for
Awesome.
coming on the episode. If you want to hear about more about Marty, please reach out to him. All the information will be under below, and so you can click on it, and we can continue to build this little community that we have.
Hey, don't forget to like and follow. Other than that, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye, guys.